just want you to sit in your chair and go, hip hip hooray, for the Western press and the Western narrative, regurgitating the same old, every single day, without which please watch the first two episodes, the second series. Look at that.
Absolutely fascinating.
And it was the first time the Beatles had really stopped being semi-professional almost.
Hi everyone, good evening. I went to Aussie today and I had the doctors and I've got to go back at the end of the month. Might have an operation. You know, they said we may operate, so that's that. But, you know, there I am, back here, talking to you. Do you know what? I've got to say this. How stupid is Trump? How stupid is he? He actually accepted the Peace Prize off that Mikado. A phony who should never have got it in the first place. And that just shows you how corrupt the Peace Prize is. The Nobel Peace Prize. They should rescind that now. They should rescind it. Because they know about Mikado wanting to bomb Venezuela, our own country, which would have caused death. It would have caused death, undoubtedly. And they gave her a Peace Prize. And for years, she was asking for a coup. She was wanting a coup in Venezuela to overthrow a legitimate president. And this is the reason why Maduro is in jail now. That's why he was kidnapped. It's not to put her in. It's just to get, behave yourself or we can do this to you. It's absolutely ridiculous. It's becoming worse and worse and worse. But I think Russia is, they sent them a big message with the Orishnik to Lviv. That's some distance, and targeted an infrastructure that's just blackened out Lviv and other parts of Ukraine, by the way. So you see, this is a message to the West. Now, that message, they've just jumped on board, haven't they? They go, oh, okay. Because now you've got Maloney, Macron, a few others as well, to talk. We want to talk to Russia. Because Macron has said that could hit us. And it can hit them. It can hit Paris. The Orishnik. So now they want to talk. What are they going to talk about? They've been escalating the war for 4 years. Anyway, good evening. That's the lovely Myra. Hi everyone. Hi Myra. Paulie. Hi Myra and Chat and Frank. Time for a quick hot shower and a hot cuppa. I'll be back to listen in. Good. Good for you, Paulie. And Myra, hi, Paulie. Johan. Because even if Frank and Legends, hope everyone as well. Smash the likes on the way in. Thank you, Johan. Thank you. Buonasera. Franco and Chatters says the lovely Toscana. There's certainly a lot to talk about. I see the police chief who stopped the Tel Aviv fans from travelling to the Villa match has resigned on a very good pension, I bet. Oh, yes. Thugs. They're all thugs. Even if Frank, says Lindsay Ellis, he is pathetic and corrupt. That's Trump, obviously. And the freedom. Good evening, Frank, and all the good people in the chat. Oh, that's nice. Thanks, Freedom. Thank you. And Toscana says, Police Chief Craig Guilford should be prosecuted for lying. If he can do that, what else has he been up to? And what? The police. Yeah, okay. Rather not talk about them. If they want you, they'll have you on trumped up charges, most probably. Any police force throughout the world. And Johan says the son of the ex-Shah of Iran has called for violence against his own country. He'll be asking for a peace prize, won't he? Guess he's an early nominee for it. This is it. Or maybe someone who'll win will say, well, yeah, you can have mine. But Trump accepting it? I just can't explain anything. He's just made a massive fool of himself. He's pathetic. He's a pathetic man, Johan. And getting back to Maduro, I seen your last post, but the show had finished, unfortunately. I used to lecture about the Romans, and when they captured an ancient Britain called Caraticus, they put him around Rome. They brought him around Rome saying this is a great warrior. They never put him to death or anything. And he was in an open cart. And they paraded him around Rome. And they even gave him a villa and a pension. Caraticus. Thing is, Maduro was paraded around New York. But that was to embarrass the man. And no one said a word, have they? I've never heard anyone say a word about Maduro. I haven't. I really haven't. Not one has criticised Trump. Now they're wanting to send troops to Greenland. Do you see what Trump is doing? What kind of leverage would Europe have? Do you know what I'd do? Honestly, here's what I'd do. I'd just throw all the American bases out. Even in this country, I'd just say, go on, get out. We don't need you. We're all right. But mind you, we've got Starmer, haven't we? Who's invited BlackRock into our country. It's just, I just don't know. I don't know what's going on. And this is all because of Russophobia. All because of Boris Johnson under the orders of Biden. Go and stop him. Go and stop Zelensky from signing the peace agreement. How many lives would it have saved? But how many lives has it cost? With the likes of Boris Johnson going over to say, don't sign it. We'll sort them out. We'll sort Russia out. We're behind you. We've got everything. We've got the weapons, we've got the intel, we've got everything. But they underestimated Russia. Now Russia has become the leading weapons people. That's what they've become. They've become, well, you've got the Orishnik, you've got another thing that goes underwater, undetected missile. They've got ballistic missiles that could wipe out anywhere. Anywhere. So, from Russia being there in the weapon stakes, they've gone right above. They've gone above America. Because America's just sending over weapons that are getting destroyed. They have been. Even Europe have been sending weapons that get destroyed. So it proves that Russia has far better weapons than the West. And it's sad to drag us all into this. And you've got that John Healey who came out and said, let's kidnap Putin. Is he right in the head? Honestly, is he right in the head to come out and say that? Who would you like to see kidnapped? Putin. He said it on camera. He said it on camera. Does he realise if that happens, or they'd never get near him anyway? And I seen a comment once, and it said, the SAS will. I just shook my head. These people. Oh, jeez. The old mate stay. Hi Frank, I'm disgusted and not surprised about the Hillsborough law because it won't include the MI5. There you go. Of course it won't. Intel, no. Toscana, I know Franco, I remember Hillsborough and the Dirty Lion Police. Buonasera, Franco, and everyone. Hope you're all well, says Bella. Hiya, Bella. Lovely to see you. And Tony, he says, hey, Frank, I see the copper down in the Midlands has retired after banning those Maccabee tugs. What does this tell us? Yes. It tells us a lot of things about this country. It tells us a lot of things about this country. And who runs it? Think about it. The Midlands has retired. The copper down in the Midlands has retired after banning those Maccabee tugs. What does this tell us? Who's running the country? It's as simple as that. And you've got your answer right there. Right there. Honestly, says Barry, when I get older, I want to move abroad. This country has let me down. Where would you go? I always wanted to live in Italy. Always. But things kept me back. Things kept me back. and was I live in Italy now. It's the same. It's just the same, unless Giorgia Maloney, she's come out and said, "We've had enough of America. We want to talk to Russia." But it's a little bit too late. They should have been talking like Orban of Hungary, and Fico of Slovakia, and now this fella, can't pronounce his name, of the Czech Republic. But you'll have the corruption, as you know. It's Orban and Hungary, because they didn't want to give anything to Ukraine, money or anything. Shocking. They've been blackmailed because the Europeans are owing Hungary millions of euros, millions, and they're holding it back until Orban agrees with everything they say. It's shocking. But again, you know, Giorgia Maloney and a few others have said, even Macron, we're not giving money to Ukraine, the loan, because the European countries have to pay the loan. 80 billion or something. Ukraine, they've said, oh, you're all right, you won't pay it back. So they said, no, we're not paying it. We're not going to buy bonds to give them money. And as you know, it's corrupt. There's something coming out now. And it goes right to the head of state. And who's the head of state? Zelensky. About the corruption. Well, we all knew about the corruption. Look at all the homes he's got. Each home costs millions. How has he got that? That's why he's going around begging. Yeah, give us this. Because it's a big washing machine. It's a massive washing machine, Ukraine. Because all that money's going in, it's coming back to them. To the people who's giving them money. And you've got the European Union, so corrupt. I don't know what's going to happen with Greenland. Because the Greenland people don't want America in their country. They don't. And you know, they talk about 51st states. They talk about 51st states, you know, like he said, Trump, I'm going to make Canada a 51st state. They've already got a 51st state. They've already got one. And they've had it for years and years. They've had it since 1948. And it's a tiny little country in the Middle East. And you've got to ask yourself as well, why did Trump? Because I thought I was going to wake up and find out that Iran has been bombed again. You've got to ask why. Why did Trump backtrack? Why did he backtrack? You've got to ask yourself that. In my opinion, someone's had a word in his ear, and it hasn't been a senator or a congressman or any of his staff. It's been a foreign, and I mean a superpower foreign head of state. Don't do it. Don't do it. Simply because what you've got is It's hard to say. I don't want to get myself into bloody trouble, to be honest. But anyway, someone's had a words with him. Don't do it. And he's backtracked. He really has. Let's see what he's been saying. Tony. Spot on, Frank. Thanks, Tony. I know you didn't mean that then, before what I was saying. And Steve Mulholland, a British diplomat was kicked out of Russia accused of spying and got swamped by protesters in Moscow. But you will never see it on the... No, you won't. Not the mainstream media. Stay. Hiya, Dennis. I wonder if I can move to Hobbiton in New Zealand. Always wanted to hang out with the hobbits. You could start in it. Yeah, it's it was filmed there, wasn't it? The Hobbits. Brilliant. Great films. But you've got to look at it in the cold light of day about what's going on in the world. The likes of Greenland that I've mentioned, and the people, they don't want America in there. They don't want them near them. And another dangerous thing, because Trump is unhinged. I really believe he's unhinged. And you've got Carney going to China and talking to Xi Jinping. But, friendly talks, partnership talks, that's going to upset America. You've got the likes of Marco Rubio, another war hawk, wanting to take Cuba. They're a threat. How the fuck are they a threat? Can anyone tell me how Cuba is a threat? They're still driving around in 50s cars. With little mad engines in. Little engines to make them go. I think they've got lawnmower engines. How are they a threat to America? Ali from Romania. Good evening, Ali. Good to see you. And Dennis. Just had 2 F-35s fly over the house. There were several of them from the time I got back from Spalding, Lincolnshire, in October, up to a couple of weeks prior to the invasion of Venezuela. Well, you're an ex-Navy man, aren't you? USAF there. Sorry, US Navy. The US. So you know the score. You've been all over the world. I'd love to ask you a question, Dennis. If you're still with us, that is, because I know you're always a busy man. But working that, and you do pop in, which is great. And you do come over to the cabin you're coming over, mate. I'll be home for it. It's been finalised. Hopefully it'll be great, after this up and that. Be seeing you. The cabin with the incurables. But I'd like to ask you a question. The bases around Europe, the American bases. What would Americans, ordinary Americans like yourself, if Europe decided, they won't decided to say, we've had enough of American bases, we want you out. What would ordinary Americans think? Would they say, yeah, why not? Let's concentrate on America. Rather than these silly wars and regime changes. Because that's what Trump should be doing. And that's how we got in. MAGA. Make America great again. MacDill Air Force Base is just down the road in the south of... Well, that again, you know... How long does it take to get to Venezuela or any other country that, for that matter, north of Latin America? Not long, does it? But I think you've had your hand full, honestly. I really do. You could have easily ended up with another Vietnam or another Afghanistan, but far worse, because all those militias, they're waiting for you. They were waiting for the Americans, waiting for them in the jungles and in the mountains. I always remember an American saying about Bin Laden. They said, "We'll never get him. He's in the mountains." When they were after him, he's in the mountains. And I don't think Americans are very good at jungle warfare, to be honest. I proved it in the Second World War, proved it in Vietnam. Umbrella says, in January 2026, the United Kingdom and the Netherlands each sent a single military officer to Greenland. And they're going to stop them, aren't they? Even if we send all our troops, they're going to stop the Americans. Yeah. Johan. Iran is a member of BRICS. Wonder where that called? Exactly. Exactly. Who had the words down the ear? Because he just come back, one certainly is, just come back off his holidays. His religious holidays. And all of a sudden, 24 hours later, there was a big retraction. Lee Johnson, hey Lee. Even and Frank, looks like I'm heading to Belfast for 2 days. Good. What for? Let us know. Let us know, Lee. And Johan, Cuba exports doctors to Palestine. That's a threat for Rubio. Even in Frank and chat, says the IAT. That is me old mate. This fella's brilliant, Jeff Ellison. I see there was a picture of him a few years ago, and he goes everywhere. He goes to these mad little places. And he said, I'm just going in here for, there was a photograph of the, honestly, there was a photograph of this, I don't know what, I wouldn't call it a building. He said, I'm just going in here for breakfast, And right behind it was a jungle. A jungle. I think him and Dennis Popper, I could be great. Dennis with the alligators and Jeff with all these mad animals. But anyway, let's see what he says. He's away now. He's away now. We asked him where he was. But what I can't understand is why the American people appear to be doing nothing about the way he's making a mockery out of democracy. And the way the rest of the world is what? It's the rest of the world. I was looking at Pete Escott before in the Senate, and he got humiliated, and he wouldn't answer a simple yes or no. Did you give the orders to shoot the demonstrators in the legs? By ice. Look what he's done. There's a lady who's just been shot in the face 3 times, driving off, driving away. A woman with 3 kids. And, they're the demonstrations. It's shocking what's happening in them. I wouldn't go to it. Honestly. America, not for me. Not for me. Not the way it is. Try and stream Philadelphia. It's shocking. They're all drug addicts. And, the likes of Trump is blaming Latin America for all the drugs. They were in Afghanistan for 20 years. And where does the heroin come from? The poppies? Afghanistan. Why didn't he bomb that? Why didn't he destroy that so nothing would grow ever again? Never did they? CIA, that's how they make the money. It's been proved. You see it in documentaries. You see it with whistleblowers. That's how they were making the money. And you've got the likes of Scott Ritter, who's just been debunked. They can get you on anything. Debunked. He's got no money. He had no money to get petrol. He had no money for anything. And his wife. So they can have you. I was listening to him in an interview. And he said, for the rest of your life, we're going to fuck you. He never said fuck but, we knew what he meant. And that's what he meant. Because he actually said it, I can't say the word. And the other fella said, Judge Politano, he said, you mean the word F? He said, yes. The word starts with F, he said. He said, yes. We're going to fuck you for the rest of your life. And that's what they can do. Anyone can do anything, any of these people. Our politicians as well. And Steve says, I'm going to the scientist. I am going to the scientist and grandson of go away. On the 4th of go away. Oh, do you know what? I might be an Aussie, I don't know. I might be an Aussie. Oh, stay. Friggin' hell. I'd love to be there. If it was tomorrow, genuine this, I can't get around. I can't get around. I would have gone there. I would have gone. I would have gone. Stay. I would have had Francine to bring me up and just sit me in a chair. Oh, Lee Jono, yeah, he says, my sister treated me for Christmas. My very first flight over Liverpool, from Liverpool John Lennon Airport, off for 2 nights stay in Belfast, and off to the Titanic Museum where it all started just 4 weeks ago. Started just 4 weeks. Is that a go or to go? Well, yeah, the Titanic Museum. It's fantastic, the shape of it, it's all black. And it's like the bow of a ship. The Titanic Museum over there. and it was belonged to the White Star Line here in Liverpool. And it was all drawn up here as well. The Titanic. Oh, that'll be great, that. You want to take loads of photos. Well, you see that you've got a camera there as well. That'll be fabulous, that. It'll be fabulous, that. To do that. Take pictures, loads of them. I can't even go to this one. There's an exhibition of Titanic artifacts at one of our hotels here in Liverpool right now. The Liner Hotel. I've given talks there at the Liner, a few talks. And unfortunately, I would have loved to have gone to see that. But you're a lucky man, you're going to see. I'll tell you who's got most of the artifacts is America. They've got loads of it from the Titanic. I've never been on a plane, only on a boat back in 1995. First for everything. Oh, you'll enjoy the flight. It'll be good. It'll be good. I'm scared of flying, so don't let me put you off. But I'm scared of flying, always have been, but that's the only way to get to places now. And you're there within no time. Yes. Trump comes out with some belters. He told Greenland that you just can't turn up on a boat and claim Greenland as your own. That was a beaut, that. I remember him saying that. Isn't that how America was populated, for fuck's sake? The only true Americans are the indigenous Indians, aren't they? Yes. You could say the same about all countries, I suppose. Yeah. Yeah. But the likes of here, for example, Jeff, you're not going to... I did, like, Roman Britain, lectured about it. And what you had people here, people running around with woads on the backsides. But you had different tribes. And those tribes, believe it or not, came from the likes of Gaul, Hispania, Germanica, because the Romans, say the Russians then, the Romans went into those countries and they were dissidents. And when Julius Caesar got over there, he went over to invade, but he lost his cavalry. He lost his cavalry in the English Channel. And when he got there, he said, listen, I've only come to trade with you. That's the spiel he gave them, because he said they all looked like madmen. And the ancient Britons, you think the Vikings had, these helmets with horns on. Ancient Britons had them before them. So anyway, when he got back to Rome, he said there are lots of dissidents, what we know as dissidents today, from the likes of Spain, France, Germany. They all went over there. It's different. Like, France wasn't like France at the time, because you had the Parisi tribe, if you know what I mean. And they came from the Paris area. You had the Franks as well. And, people think, well, who were the Franks? Well, the Franks were the French. And in not 17, I always say that. In 728 or something, I forget the date, But 1728, nevertheless. I'll just go around that time. You had the likes of the Islamics coming into Europe. They went to Spain, they done Spain in, and they were into Europe, and they were in the Franks' territory, which was France, and they were defeated. So we could have all been Islam today without the Franks. And I was listening to, I was disappointed in Chris Christopher today. He was bigging up Trump for some reason. He was bigging him up, calling Europe, more or less cowards and whatever. I was very disappointed. And yet the French were the great fighters, the French, great fighters right through the centuries, right through. And they call them cowards. The guy claimed this was a legit. Oh, I'm sorry there. I'm awfully sorry. I never finished it though. So yeah, you could say the same about all countries, I suppose. Sorry to give you that little bit of about our country. We were running around with yellow and blue roads on our backside to say, what tribe are you from? Yeah, I'm from that tribe. Through that. And until the Romans came and sorted us out with buildings made of stone and roads, grids, lamps in the street. So yeah. Nice to see you, Jeff, by the way. Enjoy your holiday, mate. Many years ago, I heard someone claim that a certain nation had planted multiple small nuclear bombs throughout the world's major cities. The guy claimed this was legit. Very scary thought. Yeah, what got me, there's loads around. I'm not being funny, but there is. During the Cold War, right up until the 90s when it's all, everything, Cold War was over. And the blackest spot in Europe, believe it or not, was Liverpool. That was the blackest spot for a nuclear attack. An atomic attack, then a hydrogen attack, then now a nuclear attack. Liverpool was heavily marked out. We would have been the first to get it, believe it or not. And Callum, Frank, would you say we're in the American Empire? Yeah, of course. You just got Starmer inviting BlackRock in. He's a globalist, Starmer. And they love the wars. This is why they have loads of wars. America starts all the wars and can't finish them off. But you should know that. That's very historical. Are you Johnny? Are you sweetheart? Frank, did Stevenson's rocket go along by Funny Oigart? No, it didn't. I know where you mean. And do you know what, Johnny? You must know this. Do you know on the wall by the, Funny Oi there, on the railway line, which is over the wall, there's a beautiful little fountain that the Melly family, Charles Melly, by the way, it was in 1848. He put all these fountains around on walls and on stand-up ones as well, so that people in Liverpool could drink water rather than taking water from stagnant pools. And he set them all up. He put them up. George Melly's ancestors done it. But no, Stevenson's rocket never. It went from Edge Hill. It went from Edge Hill to Manchester. There was no lines then. Funny eye. There was nothing there then. And do you know Fontenoy Gardens, Johnny? Do you know what it's named? It's Fontenoy Gardens, right? You know you name gardens everywhere. And where people live, residential areas. Well, Fontenoy Gardens was named after a battle. We had a battle in. And it was the only battle. We lost the battle. Funny, oi? We lost the battle. So it's named after the battle that we lost in. Shows you, doesn't it? It's a bit of fun. Funny, oi? And Johan Trump even says we don't want Russia as a neighbour, defending his Greenland push. He has had a Gantner at the world map. And where's Alaska? Yeah. He flew. He flew into Alaska. They don't know history, honestly. You want to go on YouTube and have a look at some of the, what Americans think and say. They haven't a fucking clue. They haven't a clue. Someone mentions England to some person, and she said, "Is that the capital?" And they asked her where it was first. Honestly, they asked her where, and she said, "Is it down in Mexico somewhere?" And then no, it's in. Oh, she said, oh, that's right. Is it when he mentions Europe? And she said, oh, that's right. It's the capital of London. That's America. I don't know how I don't know what their education system is. Sorry, Dennis, if you're still there, listen. Yes, horse trough. Yeah. Well, that's where, it's Anthony Brown, who does, the artist, he did it, he drew it. It's fantastic drawing. I said to him, I'd love that hanging on my wall, in a frame. It's not a horse trough, though. It's where people had a drink. You're talking 1848, and people in Liverpool were drinking out of stagnant water. And he said, we've got to do something about this. That's what he did. He set them all up all over Liverpool. And the standpipes, we go like that, getting drinks of water. And on the walls, like by Funny Eye, which is a great. It should be graded. It really should be graded, that little fountain, or as you call it, a little horse trough. Most probably they did bring the horse over, no problem with that. Yeah, I'll have a drink. Put some of the water in the thing. I'll let the horse have a drink. Yeah, good one. Medvedev is extreme. He called Macron the Gallic cockerel. Yes. See, people, the likes of Europe and America, especially Europe, they don't realise, and Putin knows now that, those drones were aimed at him to take him out. And he knows that Trump gave the green light. And this is why, he said, right, the Orishnik, to tell Europe, now they're panicking. They're panicking. But little do they realise, imagine this. Who'd be the president? Say he died. Putin died. Say he died now. Or he was, actually killed with that drone attack at his residence. Who'd be president? Medvedev. Dmitry Medvedev would be president. And I tell you what, Europe wouldn't know what hit them. They wouldn't know what's hit them. Amira, hi Amira. Oh, great to see you, honestly, sweetheart. I still want to know who made the USA, the policeman. Myra, they've been wanting to do it for, honestly, it's not just now. They've always wanted to police the world. They've always wanted to police the world, sweetheart. And, there's been like opposition to it, to be honest. But now, I tell you what they're depending on. They're depending on the USA over Ukraine. But now they're changing their minds because they know that Ukraine has lost the war. They know that Ukraine has lost the war. So they're backing away now. And with the likes of the Greenland, I was listening to, and I was so sad. Their foreign minister, Greenland's, and she was crying. They had a big poll. And they said, about America, they said, no, we want to, these are the ordinary people. No one's taking a blind bit of notice of them. And they said, no, we don't want America. We want to stay with Denmark. Because Denmark's, they give them money every year, each individual. Not only that, but they have free medication. And if they needed an operation, and they couldn't do it in Greenland, they fly them over to Denmark. I've seen it. I used to stream a thing called Nuke Airport because I wanted to know, because Trump, I always remember reading this years ago when he was first president. And he said he wanted to buy Nuke Airport in Greenland. I didn't know where it was. So anyway, I seen Nuke and I streamed it. And I used to stream it. I was going, oh, that's great, though. And it was like, it's the capital Nuke. And just recently, over the last couple of years, from a little airport, they've made it into an international airport. Denmark, that is. So they've supplied everything, Denmark, to Greenland, and they do help the people. As I said, they've got free education. Because you see the Danes there teaching kids in schools that they built. And the schools have been going for years. Free medical care. If America comes in, you know what that'll be like. You know what that'll be like. But yet they've always wanted to police the world, Myra. Always. And this is what they would never, they couldn't take on Russia or China. This is why BRICS is there, and they're trying to dismantle BRICS by these tariffs, as you know. Dismantle that, and they could go on. The petrodollar's finished. And there's no way China, because they're being paid in the yuan, their currency. And so is Russia. And they're not going to give up that now. Why do you think Gaddafi was taken out? Why do you think Saddam Hussein was taken out? Why do you think the likes of Bashar al-Assad was taken out? It's shocking what they did. And Afghanistan. But they already had a puppet there in Afghanistan. And when they were leaving, you see that the puppet, the leader, with 2 cases, 2 heavy cases full of money, full of dollars. That's what you see now with the likes of Ukrainian leaders. I forget his name, and he's got 2 of them. They're in Israel now. I tell you, has anyone seen the latest thing in Venezuela? A forest fire. Has anyone seen it? And they arrested 5 people throwing incendiaries. And you want to see it? I was watching Redacted. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe that. It wasn't like Palisades in America. This was shocking. 5 people throwing incendiaries. And you should see it. It's devastating. Devastating. And they arrested the people. Have I guessed where they come from? They come from a little part in the Middle East, a very tiny country. Because they want to take over. I've seen a picture of Mealy, and I was told about him, you know, at the wall with his little hat on. And I'd never seen it the other night. Couldn't believe it. Mealy, Argentine's president. Even Trump's been at the wall, hasn't he? Done it. Aye, Frank. Are the men's toilets on Scotland Road anything to do with the underground tunnels? What underground tunnels? The underground, see, there's a lot of myth about tunnels, you know, Donna. Lots of myth. It's like Prince Rupert and tunnels he built going down to the castle from Everton. You know, the lockup that's on the Everton crest. Well, he was here between May and June 1644. And that turret, you know, the lockup that's on the Everton crest, was built in 1787. 1644 to 1780. See what I mean? And they said that tunnels were going. Lots of myths around in Liverpool. You want to listen to me history show? Want to listen to it? It normally goes out on a Monday, but if there's a football match on, I don't have it. But I'll be doing it on Tuesday. There's a match on Monday, so I'll be doing the history show on Tuesday, if you want to listen in. And I get shut of all that. And I'll remember that. And I'll tell you all about it. And about myths. Okay? Urban myths. Because the only tunnels here are the Williamson's tunnels. And I know what you're saying about, where Fontenoy Gardens was and the railway line. Well, that only went up to Lime Street. And there used to be interchange from Exchange Station. It's only up the road, isn't it, from Fontenoy Gardens, Exchange Station. That's if you want it. And you just ask questions on the history show. Johnny, no problem. What kind of question you ask, you'll get answered. If I know the answer, that is. But Williamson's tunnels are the only tunnels, really. And the tunnels today that you find all around the world for railway, going through mountains and everything else, is based on the tunnels of Williamson, Joseph Williamson. China recently announced a 1 trillion trade surplus since Trump imposed the tariffs. Got no leverage anymore, America. Got no leverage. And they have got leverage with, get America out of it, get the bases out. What will they do then? What will they do? What could Trump do? Or America, for that matter? We want your bases out of our country. Go on. And NATO, because they are NATO. And NATO, to the contrary of what people think, that Russia have been fighting the Ukrainians, they've been fighting NATO. They've been fighting them all the way. They can't defeat them. That's why NATO's finished. Really finished. But you're right there, Johan. It's incredible, isn't it? They can't do anything. America can't do anything anymore. That Lindsey Graham, did you see him? Because Iran wasn't bombed. He was nearly crying. He really was nearly crying. And Tony said, they do the fires, then buy up the land cheap. That's right. Yeah, I meant to mention that. That's what they want, because they want the whole of South America. There's loads of people waiting to go in, in these countries. Say like Venezuela, that Mercado. What's she? What is she? Who is she groomed by? Well, there's other peoples like Mercado from all around South America, waiting to be put in, puppets for, not for America, for some little tiny country in the Middle East. It's been going on for years. What they want to do. Good shout that, Tony. You're spot on, mate. And Johan says, Argentina's Patagonia region, the Zion-Nazis, brilliant. The Zion-Nazis kills animals in a wildlife reserve in those. Of course, do you know what, Johan? I was on the other night, and you weren't here. And I was talking about Vietnam. And I was talking about Venezuela. And I said, if America would have gone in, like they did in Vietnam, the wildlife would have been slaughtered, because they love bombing jungles and no matter what. like they did in Vietnam. The animals that was destroyed there. Shocking. And I mentioned it, but you're so right. The wildlife. How many are there with that fire now? How many with that fire have been destroyed? Shocking. I always remember, what's his name? Robert Duvall. And he was talking about, like his career and that. And, about his films. You think I'm digressing? I'm not. And they asked him, and he said, well, your actors were Marlon Brando. And he said, yes. In Apocalypse Now. He said, yes. And he said, do you know what? He said, I really didn't want to do the line, but I was forced to do this line. He said, and I was so upset when I had to say it. And I always remember the scene. He had a cavalry hat on. And he comes out of his tent. This is supposed to be in Vietnam. And I used to watch it, going back years ago, in the 70s, 60s and 70s, but especially in the 70s, when they started to drop these bombs, napalm, and smart bombs. One of my students asked me, what are smart bombs? He heard about it on BBC Two, actually, going back then. I said, well, when it hits, the bomb hits, I said, it spreads out and then goes up. I said, but what goes up is all the oxygen. And the people die because they can't get any air. The lungs just collapse. That's a smart bomb. But getting back to the other fella, Duval, he said, and I had to come out and say, and I always remember it, I love the smell of napalm in the morning. And behind him, you see these napalm things going on. That was shocking, what they did, the Americans. Shocking. What they did to them people. And they couldn't defeat them, and they never had an army or air force or anything like that. So sad. Wars. America started them. And Stephen says, I think it was Argentina, not Venezuela. Is that the fires? It said Argentina. Venezuela. Because they wouldn't touch Argentina. It said, with these people who they've got. Mind you, I could be wrong, I don't know. But why would they do it in Argentina? If they've got a tiny hat as president? Merely. But mind you, it's to put a foothold, but they've got the foothold in though with Merely. Trump made sure when he offered them 60 billion. We'll give you 60 billion if you vote this fella in. And yet they voted him in again. And they wanted him out as he's the most corrupt leader Argentina had. Everything's corrupt. And Johan, they've been caught in Chile and Paraguay as well. And an air plan was a conspiracy after all. There you go. I know they want, is it Chile, or have they got Chile? Have they got it? Is it under American control, Chile? I'm not quite so sure, you know. But it's all for, you know where, what America are doing. Because, as I mentioned, the 51st state, is Israel. It has to be. And Archie and my dog Buddy have just grounded where he's concerned, Frank. Have you picked up on the water outrages in England? No, I haven't, to be honest. I haven't, actually. Sorry, mate, I haven't. What kinds of country / world are we living in when we can't name the enemy? Look, I mentioned Scott Ritter before, and he's been debunked. All because he speaks the truth. He speaks the truth. And as Leo Tolstoy said, and I'm talking history because, you know, everything is history now. And tomorrow will be history, the day after, if you know what I mean. And he said history would be a wonderful thing if it was true. In other words, what he was saying is the propaganda about history. And he's so right. It's all propaganda. Everything you read today. That's why you've got a lot of Russophobia in the world. Not throughout the world, like, but especially in Europe and America. Russophobia. The Americans have always hated, and you go back to 53 with the McCarthy, with the McCarthyism, rounding up communists. And they're just people who were giving other people a chance to work. And I'm talking about in the industry. And I was sick of Charlie Chaplin. He was exiled and he went to, don't forget, we've always been under the thumb of America. He wouldn't come back to England, Charlie. So he went to Switzerland and he lived there. And he was awarded, I think, in 1978, you know, a lifetime achievement, an Oscar. And I wanted him to say, no, F off, don't want it. Because they exiled him. America. But he went and picked it up. This is what I mean. It could easily be bribe people as well. And that was a big bribe, an Oscar for Charlie. It's happening in Argentina too, Frank. The fires and the land grabs, says Tone. There you go. Because with the land grabs, with the, you know, anything that burns, I know this about South America, they bring in foreign investors to build it up again. Whether, you know, to build, you know, I'm not saying, you know, you're not going to plant trees again, are you? So, you know, hotels and whatever. You know, one of the biggest land grabs today And Trump is the prime instigator, and his son, and Witkoff, his son, Kushner, and Witkoff. And you know what they do? They're real estate people. And Kushner's done this brilliant. It looks fantastic. And it's the Riviera, Gaza, on the sea, the Med. Think about it. That's a land grab. Johan, Patagonia is in Argentina, and Mele recently announced a retraction of the law that prevented buying of land after the fire. Easy real estate for the Zeos, yes. They want to get everywhere. They want to get everywhere. Johan, Patagonia, come on. You know what I mean? And they destroy the environment, you know. As you know, they destroy the environment. They not only destroy the environment, but they destroy the ozone layer. And you know the way fires, you know that Palisades in Los Angeles. Do you ever think anything about them fires? All of a sudden, how did they start? How? Because what do? They build on them. Once it's flattened out and cleaned up, they build on them. So they're destroying their own country. It's a vast country, but they're destroying it. It's funny how you don't get any fires in Russia, isn't it? And they've got more forest. They have more forest than anywhere. I'm not saying the Amazon, like, but they do. And isn't it funny how fires don't start in the Amazon? They just chop the trees down, destroying their own environment and the animals. Chile has a new pro-Israel son of a Nazi as a thought there was something, you know. I thought there was something. It's the Operation Paperclip, isn't it, really? Operation Paperclip. Think about it. Think about our MI6. Who's the leader of the MI6? You can't make these things up. It's so sad. I was not half upset over Venezuela, really. Well, that didn't half upset me. And now, you know, Greenland's, when I was listening to the ordinary people, and they saying, we don't want America. We don't want America. It's super. Johan, I don't think Iran is a full member of BRICS. They only have, no, they are. They are a member. Honestly. I know you've got the eye there, and it's India now. But they are a member, honestly. And Ali says are Romanian. Frank, I told you before, we, the Romanians, we have some models. Our great inventors and poets. The one Zionist in our parliament. There is one Zionist in our parliament. 1 month ago, he just went there and broke a paper with all those. They're everywhere. They're all over the place. Ali. And you know how corrupt the EU is over Kalen, Georgescu and Simone. You know how corrupt they are, by cancelling your elections. And these people would have been now president of your country. And von der Leyen cancelled them. But that was under the orders of the White House. Trump. And everybody just watched because you're controlled. It's all controlled. Romania is controlled. It wouldn't have been with Georgescu. Would never have been with Georgescu. That's why they cancelled it. For that zeal, most probably. He creates law in our own parliament. I don't know what you mean about that. Oh. Do you mean chaos? He creates chaos in our own part? Most probably he does. Well, yeah, he would. And actually says, Frank, me dog would eat me if I was dead. He'd have no further choice when I'm dead. No one would feed him by myself. Frank, I have just written poet. Behave yourself. Again, Tamara. USA took the global sheriff badge. Didn't ask anyone or wait for anyone else. Their collective insanity took over before 1945. Well, in 1914, when the First World War broke out, everybody's heard of the Lusitania being sunk by the Germans. And it was Churchill who led, and his Navy people, he was the first Sea Lord, and he was saying, listen, they were saying to Churchill, listen, there's German submarines around it. He said, no, let them go through, they'll be all right. Knowing that, those submarines, the U-boats, the undersea booting, would torpedo it. And he said, if Americans are killed on it, America will join us fighting the Germans. And he was wrong. Because it was torpedoed and many people did die. Many. Including Americans. And their target was arms. The Germans said there's arms on that. So they blew it up. Torpedoed it. Thing is, America didn't join the war because they were cornering the market. All Europe was at war and they cornered the market because they couldn't trade. No Europeans could trade. So America cornered the market, and that's when they really took over. But you can go back to the 1820s with the Monroe Doctrine. And that Monroe Doctrine was that all America, including Latin America, belongs to America. And this is what Trump wants. And he calls it the John Monroe. They're the John Roe. No, not the Monroe, but the John Roe. And it's shocking what he's doing. It's shocking. But you're right, it was before 1945. As I said, they cornered the market. And that was it. Once that market was cornered, the pounds became useless. Everything became useless. And Germany was saying, we need money. And they flooded Germany with the dollar and the rest of Europe. So if you wanted, say like a pound, for example, the pound became useless. And the elites were taking the dollar in. And I'll tell you what else they were taking in. Because back in the 19th century Victorian days, and just coming into the 20th, what you bought foods with was a sovereign. So they piled all that in. They piled it all in. They said no more sovereigns now, because that's gold. And a florin used to be made of silver. And they brought that in as well. Precious metals. Tony says, Kushner is Shabbat Schneerson disciple. And he's a diplomat. Fucking builds houses. Shows people flats. Yeah, this is $400 a week. Do you like it? Yeah. Oh, okay. And he's going over to Russia to talk to fucking Putin. And Witkoff. And what's Witkoff? What's Kushner? Jesus, can't fucking make it up. Can't make it up, Tony. It's like Wonder Woman, Greenstein, Gal Gadot. Have you seen all the publicity on the social media about her, being great and everything? She was an IDF soldier doing on active duty in the Lebanon. So what was she doing there? Gal, good old Gal. And Johan says to the superhead, Power BRICS founding member are Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. Iran is a full-time member alongside Indonesia, Egypt, and the UAE. There you have it. There you have it. And Jans, okay, I knew they were attending the conferences and associated, but thanks for the confirming that. And actually, one of my wives loved war poems. I've had three. No more, Frank. When I go to bed, it's me and him. I hope he don't get up to any funny business, actually. War poetry. Love it. But I had to do the horrors of war, along with the patriotic poem of the war. Very patriotic. War poems. And the horror poems of the war, the true poems weren't published. But the patriotic ones were. If I had any cash, I would invest in bricks, as the US did here, the dollar is technically worthless, and the West is tied closely to the dollar. Of course it is. Of course it is. I just said it before. I have to leave you, Frank and Co. We'll catch you in the morning show, TV film. Relevant to this is a film you probably know, the film Truth. Radford and Blanchard. True story. Good night from me. Good night. You take care. See you tomorrow. See you tomorrow if it don't freeze up like an iceberg. Think of a ship at me, I think that'll just break up. Because I feel like an iceberg sometimes in here. Frank, are you aware of the Bradbury pound? No. Nowhere, actually. No, actually. Sorry. The Bradbury pound. And Tony says, yeah, he did. He told them. He said, get out. Israel. This is why, when I first mentioned it, that someone has a thing in the ear of the other fella, Trump. Because he knew. See, you've got to understand that the likes of Iran, they've got super weapons now. And you know who's being given them? They've got these guided missiles. They could destroy Israel in half an hour. In half an hour. So as I said, but you never know with this, you never know with this Trump. He's a megalomaniac. And he could just say, all right, no bombing now. But he could just say, okay, I want you to bomb. Because they should impeach him now and put someone there and not Vance. Because the whole of the fucking White House is shocking. The whole of the White House is shocking. They're all on it. Yeah, you're right there, Johan. CIA. They're the biggest fucking crooks in the world, then. But, you've only got to look at our intel as well. They do all the damage. Do you see what the German papers, governments come out and says, the jurisdiction, I don't know, the judicial system, they've turned around and said it was a foreign entity that blew up the Nord Stream. Do you remember Biden admitting what he did? And Sikorski, the Polish minister, when when I was done, minutes after I was done, thank you, America, the Nord Stream. And what von der Leyen's on, don't forget that the price of energy now in Europe is astronomical. And the Europeans are suffering. It's like, if you can afford to go away anywhere in Europe, I'm talking about, the prices before Nord Stream was okay, you know, a bit dear, like, but okay, you could afford it. Now it's gone up, gone through the ceiling. And I'm talking about enjoying yourself, going out, going on excursions, going for a drink, going for a meal. That's what you do when you go on holiday. Just go to enjoy yourself. But the price now is shocking, all because of von der Leyen and the likes of the Nord Stream. Frank, please check out the Bradbury. I will, actually. Film True reminds me of the oppression of friend boss who comments on your show, in brackets. The struggle started when the English government tried to ruin him and his deceased wife, destroying his enterprise. But what was his enterprise? Assets, property, possessions, emptied his bank accounts and alienated his associates, and, worst of all, boss ex-associates, contacts, and anyone close to him were discredited, disappeared, or died strangely. Well, that's fucking nice, isn't it? But I must go. Okay, I'll see you. That's why I don't answer emails or anything. Never answer them. And I don't like my fucking name being on them either. If only there was a video of ex-presidents who said, we're going to take care of it. I was only saying to Francine today, just talking to her in the car, and she said, I said, you know, from the likes of when Kennedy was assassinated, I said, we all know why he was assassinated, because he wanted peace, and he wanted peace with the Soviet Union, and they came to an understanding, him and Nikita Khrushchev, about these missiles going to Cuba. So he said, okay. So they assassinated him. And Lyndon Baines Johnson came in. What did he do? Right away, went into Vietnam. And he asked Harold Wilson, he said, listen, can your boy? He said, my boys are not going anywhere. He told him to fuck off, actually. My boys are going nowhere. That's what he said. And every president since then, even Obama, he got a Peace Prize in. That's why I said at the time when he got a Peace Prize, I had no podcast then. I said the corrupt to give him a Peace Prize. He's a bloody man. That's what I mean, like on his hands. Horrible him. Like every other president, the two Bushes, Clinton. this fella, Biden, every president started wars and escalated wars. They destabilized the Middle East to destabilize Europe, and they succeeded. And Donna says, "What are you doing for the eclipse in August?" Do you know what? The last eclipse, I was married at the time, and there was a fella who lived across the road from me, and I remember things coming out, like a cardboard thing, he got them with the newspaper, and it had a little round thing in, and you went like that, and you'd see the eclipse. I forget what it was like, and it wasn't a full eclipse. I think it was a quarter or half of eclipse. And anyway, the fella came over. He went, "What are you doing there?" I'm getting the eclipse. He said, "I can't work that out." I said, "Watch." Then she came by me, and she had to be off work that day. So I went there, and I said, "Did you see the eclipse?" And he was going, "Look at it, and he was shouting, "Look at this, look at this." And people started to come over, "Got the eclipse on this thing." And she turned around, she said, "Move your thumb," because I had my thumb like that, to make it like an half crescent. And she said, "Move your thumb." And they all looked at me like that and just walked away. Well, that's funny. I said, "What did you do that for?" She said, "Oh, shut up. That's why I'm on my own." Can't take a joke. So I don't know, Donna. I haven't a clue, honestly. Come up here, and if they get one of them things out, I might use my thumb. You could go, "Oh, look. I use that, you're using your thumb." Ashley, nice. Hey, Ashley. Frank, bit late, mate. Don't worry. Don't worry about it. Good to see you. And no money in peace, says Spock. No, of course there isn't. The MI6 sees to that. And all the politicians making sure that they say, that Russia's bad, we've got to weaponize ourselves. There's von der Leyen, she's wanting bonds to be sold now to make up a super army. What for? What for? As if Russia wants to take over Europe. No chance. The other fellow will. Trump. I'd love to see a European country say, I think, I'll tell you who might have done it, actually. And that was, I mentioned him before, Kalen Georgescu of Romania. If he would have got in, I think he would have. It's the biggest base, NATO base in Europe, in Romania. And I think he would have got in and chased them. Don't want you. Fuck off. And that's why I say the likes of Hungary, the Czech Republic, and Slovakia should join BRICS. I'm surprised at Orbán, but he likes Trump. Some fucking reason. Yeah, you're right there, Johan. A foreign agent, yeah. He did. And look, they're ruling today, aren't they? Didn't Trump go on the premise of, to be the president about peace and the likes of AIPAC? He mentioned them. Get rid of them. And he wanted to get rid of the FBI, didn't he? This is what he said. The CIA are going to be streamed. Know what I mean? He said he was going to stream the CIA. That's a cracker, that. Johan, you're right, mate. APAC. Horrible. The CIA will take Trump out if this muppet carries on like this. No, they won't. They're fucking made up with him. Actually, they're made up with him, mate. They are made up with him. This is what the CIA is all about. You know, people might think the CIA are in suits and ties. They are. In the Pentagon. But they've got a fucking big army in uniform with big machine guns and all these other kinds of weapons that are army. The CIA. They're the regime changes. They're in there. You get colour revolutions. And there was a colour revolution going on in Iran until it got stopped. You had one in Georgia, right next to Russia. That was stopped. Still going on today. Somalia, everywhere. It's mad. Obama was a terrible president, George America. He didn't do anything for them. He didn't. I'll tell you who else didn't do anything. And you can ask the people if you ever go to New Orleans. When in 2005 they had the hurricane, Katrina, that hit them and it hit all the houses. And George W. said, I'll be helping these people. Yes, I'll be helping these people. They're still fucking wrecked. They still haven't been helped. But they were black people, you see. And if you're black, fuck all down for you in America. I'm telling you now. And Donna says, the biggest budgets, either black or otherwise, do they go? Yeah, of course. You see, I remember in the 80s, was it the 80s? Was it the 80s? Yeah, it was the 80s. We were spending billions on Trident. And I said, what are you spending billions on that for? Why? I said, it'll never get used. And we've already got them. Big missiles. Big missiles. Nuclear. I said, so we've got them. Why spend billions on more? And what it was for the all the military complexes to build them, because they always get bribed. And it was in the 80s. What government was in the 80s? The Conservatives. The Conservatives. Making money. It's on it. Everything's phony. Everything. Corrupt. Shocking. So that, you know, you're right. It's military. Everything is military. Because if you speak up for the military, you get paid. This is why the likes of Congress and the Senate in the States, the money that's going to them, and by outside influences, giving them big pay packets. And I'm talking big. If you want to become a millionaire like that, that's where to go. Not a millionaire, a multi-millionaire. That's where you go. Over to America and become a... Well, you can do it here now as well. So you're right there, Donny. Go sit there. Clinton and Yugoslavia. Oh, yeah. Well, that was the breakup, wasn't it, Tito? That was the breakup. Clinton. And Clinton. Remember when they bombed Serbia? In 1999? Bombed Serbia for nothing. NATO? Shh. Because they knew what they were doing. But Serbia done nothing. Because they wanted to split Serbia and put a little country there called Moldova. And I think Russia should take Moldova. Because you got Vucic, haven't you? He's, he's pro-Russian. But he always keeps it open with the West as well. You know that, don't you, Johan? See that American general a few weeks ago when he was saying, take that list. What's his name? Sinistra. Oh. And it's, I forget this country. I forget the name of the country. It's only a little country where the Russians live. And if we take that, we can take that anytime. You haven't a clue. You know it, Johan. But Yugoslavia was shocking what they did to Yugoslavia. Frank, did they fuck about money the same as Lincoln? Frank, did they fuck about money the same time as Lincoln? Money's always been in with every president. But they reckon Abraham Lincoln was the greatest president. You know, Myra's gone. Later, everyone. Ta-ra, Myra. Oh, great to see you, sweetheart. See ya. Everything about everything. And I'm telling you now, it's all about money. And now, you're going back to Lincoln. Now it's about resources. But you'd even go back to the 1820s and the Monroe document. And they said, it's going to be all, I'm talking about Latin America. We're going to rule the Western Hemisphere. There you go. It's ours, they said. And Trump is doing it now. And Ashley, Obama was a terrible president for America. He didn't do anything good for them. No, he didn't. He was a good talker. He was a con man. Yeah, see you, Myra. See you, sweetheart. And Johan, to Ashley, Obama sent violent thugs to the Occupy Wall Street protest after the recession and hired people from the Citibank for his administration. Horrible person. It's like ICE today, isn't it? It's like ICE. They're thugs. They are thugs. And they can't arrest you. But they do. They beat you up, shoot you, and everything. Them fucking pricks. And Johan, as the old saying goes, a man with a briefcase can steal more than a thug with a weapon. Yes. Yep. Well, you see presidents in suit and ties, don't you? Presidents and prime ministers. And Ashley, do you think it was the CIA who behind this? Yeah, of course it was. It's been proved it was them. You want to see Oliver Stone? Brilliant. Oliver Stone's great. You want to see him about Russia? Oliver Stone. Open your eyes. Vladimir Putin. Johnny, who was the biggest suppliers? Is it the Bushes? The Bushes, they're all in on it. They're all in on it. See, you had two presidents of the Bushes, didn't you? Horrible people. Both of them. George and George Jr., W. Bush, as he was known. W. W. Both of them were horrible. Everyone is in there. I'm talking about everybody. They're all in this particular, the likes of Raytheon, for example, that make big weapons, big bombs and planes and whatever. And if they come to you and you're a politician, oh yeah, will you speak up for us? Yeah, of course. That's why they want escalation of wars. They make a lot of money. Everyone. The men in the suits, as Johan said. The man with the briefcase is more weaponized than the man with a weapon. And that's it. Frank, did not Graham Souness get charged with something? He played goal and Southampton. My man was a Scotia. No, that was Bruce Grobbelaar. He was accused of taking bribes. No, it wasn't. Tell you who it was. It was your goalkeeper against Everton to keep Everton up from going into the first division as it was then. Everton. Everton, mate. Forget the goalkeeper's name. And he fumbles a couple of shots. Your goalkeeper. And he went in. Saved Everton. And Paulie says, Frank, you said that the CIA are behind overthrowing regimes in Iran, Georgia, until they stopped. Can I ask you who shot them? who stopped them. And secondly, because I buy them a drink. It was a leader who, being on his Christmas holidays, this is all I'll say, who had a word in Mr. Trump's ear and just said, don't. Thanks, Johan. Transnistria. Yeah. Thanks, Johan. Yeah, he was saying how we can take that easy. This fucking stupid general. They haven't a clue. They haven't a clue. Buonanotte, Franco and Toscana, and all great night. Very interesting comments. Have a great weekend, everyone. You too, Bella. You and Marcella. You and Marcella. She going to the Burnley game. Marcella. Actually, all a rigged game, Frank. Yeah, of course it was. Shocking. But the Evertonians, they go, wasn't. I remember when the USA got a beating from the Somalis, and the US didn't like it when they were dead soldiers were being dragged through the streets. I remember those images on the news. Yeah. Somalia. Well, they're in everywhere. They're everywhere. Insurrections. America. Never trust them. Paulie says, bye, Myrie. Myrie said, bye, Paulie. Paulie, Bella Italia. Good night. And actually, Yankee dollar, Confederate dollar, outlawed Josie Wales. Achie's a week. And Johan says it's a big club and we ain't in it. George Carlin. Yep. Try and get on YouTube about the Senate and this Pete Except getting humiliated the other day by these senators, especially two women. Two women humiliated him. He's a greasy oaf, him. He's totally out of his depth. Like our manager, Ernie Slot. Totally out of his depth. Shocking. But try and get it, Pete Esket at the Senate. You know, being questioned. And one fella said to him, you get out. That's what he said. Get out. But you want to hear these two women, Adam, these two female senators. Brilliant they were. It reminded me of Hillary, if you like, Johan. But on the good side, if you know what I mean. The Twin Towers and the weapon of mass destruction and Blair, do you reckon he was just... Of course he was, Donny. Of course he was. And he went right into it. Right into it, Donny. He knew what he was doing. He knew that there was no weapons of mass destruction. I mentioned a fella there before named Scott Ritter. He was one of the weapon inspectors, along with Hans Blix. And he went to his Senate, Scott Ritter, and sat there. And Joe Biden was a senator then. And he said, there's no weapons of mass destruction anywhere in Iraq. Anywhere in Iraq. And they couldn't keep them alive. They couldn't keep the likes of Saddam alive. They had to get rid of him, which they did, by the puppet regime that they put in. And then you look at Gaddafi of Libya. Now, Libya, he was a great man to them, Johnny. Muammar Gaddafi was a great man to his people. He gave them about 60, in our money, equivalent of our money, 60,000 to a couple who get married and a home. He gave them free energy, more or less free energy. I mean, free petrol, more or less free petrol, because it was that cheap. He gave them free energy, like gas and light, electricity, or everything. He was wonderful to his people. And then you have what you call NGOs, non-government agencies. And they're still going today. And they go into, they were there now in Iran, along with Mossad causing trouble, all these protests. They got found out, they got captured. Mossad and NGOs. And they go into the countries. They went into Ukraine in 2014. And the CIA, MI6, overthrew the legitimate Yanukovych, the president, who the majority of people voted him in. And because he was pro-Russian, they didn't like that, the Americans. They're going to get fucking shot of him. And they did. But he fled to Moscow. He fled there. The likes of Bashar Assad, he fled to Russia. But the likes of Muammar Gaddafi, he couldn't get out of anywhere, him. And he was brutally murdered. Saddam Hussein couldn't get out either. They have to get rid of the leaders. It's shocking what they do. It's shocking. It's unlawful. It's against all these international laws. And what did Trump say yesterday? I am the law. And no one says anything to them. Nobody. And that she says, you're right, Frank. Bruce Carlyle. Yep. But it wasn't against Southampton. It was against someone else. It could have been Southampton, I don't know. But anyway. Must be a bloody conspiracy, says Lee Brady, going on here, Frank. That stupid kids who burnt down Wooten Hall being released, no further action. What a joke. Great to other brats. That will do something similar and get away with it. Nobody cares anymore. No, they tried to burn down, which they did. They burnt down Tingwell Hall, and Ken Dodds wanted that. Beautiful building. Burnt it down. Not once, but twice. And where I used to lecture, at the time was Hope University. and they tried to burn down the collegiate, get rid of it, which they did. And, I'm pleased to say that I was one of them that actually saved it from being demolished because they just wanted to put flats there. But now it's still there, the building. I went down, I said, don't you realise the historical significance of this building? I said, the fella who designed and built it was Harvey Lonsdale Elves. Who's he? I said, he built fucking St. George's Hall. But anyway, it was saved. And they put apartments in there. Whereas they just wanted to take it away and put apartments on the site of it. But anyway, it's there now today. Which I'm pleased about. No, nobody cares anymore. Our owners are out of their depth as well, says Johan. What else could you expect from Florida Jews and a chemical terrorist who had a Chelsea season ticket? Yeah. And you see what Starmer's done to Abramovich? He's froze his money. And he wants to give it to Zelensky. Who's the biggest... who's the biggest corrupt? I don't call him a leader. I've never... Because he hasn't... He won't hold the... He won't hold the elections, will he? And he's having murder with Klitschko, isn't he? Big fight with Klitschko. Zelensky. Have you seen how aged he's gone, though? Have you seen him lately? He's not half aged. Zelensky. But he's being held, isn't he, by the Azovs? Everything people think that it's, well, they don't think, they fucking know who's giving them the scripts. And it's the Azovs now. Because they're getting a lot of money. And if they, with their money, they can't go anywhere because the Russians have said, we're going to get you. We're going to get you to put on, war crimes in Russia. And Lee says, but there is hope with the past owners and campaigners are looking at building it up again, but we'll see. I don't know because it's been destroyed at the inside. All the antique stuff, everything is gone. The wood, everything. It's in a bad way. The IBR. Even in Captain Dunfranco, up your spiffing old chap. I'm okay. IBR. How are you? Good to see you, by the way. As usual. And Lee says, even though all the history is gone, the original wooden panels, the architecture, the original hundreds of years old paintings, all gone, so it won't be the same. No, it won't, Lee. That's what's finished. It's gone. Antiques. 100 years old. Gone. So fucking sad. And Johan, the same humanitarian NGO, HRANA, who had Iranian protesters were being killed, also said Iraq has weapons of mass destruction. Yes. Same. It's based on, everything is based on lies. Look at this, it's a failed state. Look who they've got in fucking power. The president of Syria. Come on. He's a head chopper. He chopped heads off. And there was a fella from Liverpool named Ken Wigley. And he fucking chopped his head off. And fucking Starmer's supporting them. British workers. Heads off. Americans. Heads off. I remember some woman, a son, you know, her parents, they're elderly, and they were pleading. Who was it? Who was in power? I think it was Obama in power. Was it Obama? Or was it Trump? One of them fucking two. Anyway, pleading, will you stop this? My son is about to be executed. You know, with the orange jumpsuit on. We're going to bring him out because they said we're going to execute him in a couple of days. Some fucker chopped his head off. Never forget that. I think he was a reporter. Some young fella. Ken Wigley was just an ordinary worker. Yeah, I have John Dryden. Yep. Metaphysical poet he was. Yeah, I have. John Dryden. Got his poetry here somewhere. Actually, it's a matter of time, Frank. No more football matches, honest. Says the Archie. No more football matches. I've got to do a watch along on fucking Saturday. Anyway, actually, no pubs, no clubs, no fish and chip shops, no cafes. And then the stadiums closed down in modern day times. We have to do our best and do our best. Yes. And Bella says, Marshall is, oh, that's right, she's in the Amalfi, I'm sorry. The Amalfi Coast for a few weeks. Oh. Bet she'll be enjoying herself. But January, the Amalfi, fucking, I'll be cold, you know. Warmer than here, though. The IBR. They want to make us pay a license fee for watching YouTube. Yeah, IBR, yeah. There's always loopholes. Do you know, all my life that I was paying taxes. I was paying taxes for the Second World War. There was a loophole to keep the taxes going. And you're paying them. And everybody else on here is paying them. Fucking shocking. Except our friends in Romania, Ali, doesn't pay taxes here. They want to make it, yeah, honestly, they do. Watching YouTube. Franco White got 7 children, 5 boys, 2. 7. 7. Fucking hell. That's great, that. Italians for you see. They had big families as well. And Paulie says, I've stopped listening to the news in the car as my blood boils. Not good for the old blood pressure. No, it isn't, Paulie, because you're getting a load of bollocks. I rant about the injustice going on and the lies we're fed. I'm not ignorant, just angry. Yeah, of course. And they expect you to believe it. Everything. And Lee says, thanks for doing what you did, Frank, helping save buildings. I noticed one that didn't stand for long called the Lunatic Asylum was in Aston Street or something like that. I can't remember the road. Remember the one near Dover Street? Road 2. Some lunatic. Do you know what was a lunatic? Do you know what the site of St. George's Hall was? A lunatic asylum, Lee. Did you know that? The site of a lunatic. And I went down into the bowels, me and Tony Snell. Fucking hell. It's frightening. And, you know, like, if you've done something, they call you a loony. You know, if you protested at the time, and they used to throw you in there, and if you weren't a lunatic, you fucking came out one. And they knocked it down because they said when they were building Lime Street Station, they said we can't have the lunatics wandering around. This will have to come down. So it came down, and on the site of it, that's why you've still got the foundations underneath. They built St. George's Hall. And Paulie says, I googled how many Premier League teams are American owned. It's half of them. Why? This is what the likes of Johan, who's a Man United fan, they for years they've been wanting the Glaziers out. And I always remember when Nixon Gillette came in. The Manchester United fans, you know, when we got rid of them, they said, don't take more Americans in. You know what they're like. Look at us with the Glaziers. And we fucking brought them in again. So you're right, Paulie, there's lots of Americans. They're taking over. I'd fuck them all off myself. I'm off to bed now, says Paulie. An early rise. I'm dropping my daughter off at Lime Street as she's visiting friends in I love York. Paulie. Tell her to go to and visit. She must visit the Railway Museum. Fantastic. And also the Viking Museum as well. Fantastic. The Vikings. The Jorvik Centre, it's called. Brilliant it is. Good night, Paulie. Cheers, mate, for joining us. And Ashley says, night, Frank and chat. Got to go to bed. Got an early start and I'm up to Liverpool for the Burnley game. Hopefully see you tomorrow, Frank, mate. Yeah. Don't forget, give me a ring on your way down, okay? Because I'll be doing a film review in the morning. I always do film and TV review. And they talk about everything. They don't watch what I tell them to watch. Only Johan watches it. The programmes. And Paulie says they are going to get their sports betting companies to allow bets on the game that gets the most eyeballs. And oligarchs, wet dreamers betting on Madrid, Liverpool, or Barca City. Yeah. We won't fucking play that. We're going to go out of that, telling you now. And Lee says, oh, wow, interesting that, Frank. I didn't know that. One of the history show that is. I was trying to find out how many castles were around Liverpool, like the one in West Derby, then the one in Chilwell you mentioned the other day, part of a day apart from the main Liverpool one, while others are no, none really. There was only the two. There was only the two. I tell you, Lord Derby, when he built and you're talking 13, was it 13? I forget when it was. 1320 or something like that, and he built the first tower building. Right, there's been the tower building that you see at the pier head. Well, that's the third one. The first one, they wanted a castle, and it was built like a castle. So you could call that one, if you know what I mean. It was built. He wanted his own castle, like the castle we had, and it was only along the road from there. I'll do a little bit on Monday, on Tuesday, if you want. I'll show you the tower, and I'll also show you the original castle. And they were so close because it was only in Old Hall Street. Oh, that was the Old Hall, yeah. And right on the waterfront, the tower building. I'll give you a clue about it as well, and I'll show you the picture on Tuesday. Okay. That it was the third one, the third tower, but the first one was built like a castle. I'm going to go soon, people. Paulie, thanks for the tip. I'll pass that on. Thanks, Frank. Brilliant once again. I'm taking the missus to the Burnley game tomorrow. Fingers crossed, a good result. Night all. Good night. Good night, Paulie. Good man. Brill, Frank. Look forward to that. Up the Reds, 3 points tomorrow, please. Do you know what, Lee? I'll tell you what else I saved. The Lyceum at the bottom of Bold Street. They were pulling that down to make another, like, fucking stupid thing. You know, like we've got the precinct. And actually says, Americans chewing gum stockings me. Nan said that they were bad. My granddad sent home tea in the Second World War to trade with. Oh my God. Yeah. Wow, Bella, that's wonderful. Why not they? Do you mean all the 7 kids, 2 daughters and 5 sons? I don't think I could last. Anyway, people, I'm going. I've just got to. And Johan, Frank, I saw a replay of your part 2 about Cromwell. The skull on the spike was intense. You would like Game of Thrones. The writer was inspired by British history, albeit American. Yeah. That's why I wouldn't watch it. But don't say nothing, Johan. Don't like American stuff. Do you know what I don't like either? You know, Americans trying to take off an English accent. And they always say, you know, if there's a line and it says job, they always say jab. So it goes. And then if anything with water in, they always say, hey, can you go? Excuse me, darling, can you get me a drink of water? It always goes like that. Water. So there's loads of things like that, what the Americans can't get rid of. How's that? Love you, Frank. Night, buddy. Thank you, Archie. Thank you so much, people. Poor Frank's freezing here. Got to take me tablets. I'm in pain. 2 arms now are in pain. So anyway, it's a good night from me. I'm going to make myself a nice sandwich. I'm going to have a mature cheddar and tomato sandwich. Yep. That's what I'm going to have. And on that one, that will inspire the thing I'm going to have. I'll see some of you tomorrow. See some of you hopefully on Monday. Hopefully I'll see you on Tuesday with the History Show. Thank you so much. And the great Johan. Take care, Frank and legends. See you legends tomorrow. And as Archie says, love you, Frank. Don't tell Snapey about the cat. No. Fucking hell, I can't say anything. Snapey has to go at me. He's not here tonight, though, is he? Oh, he can't fucking say nothing. See you, Franco. Take care, says the IBR. Thank you, IBR. Sparks never says a fucking word. He tunes in and he just says thumbs up. Oh, right. The lovely Bella. Toscana. Buonanotte, Franco and chatters. The chat on here has stopped me thinking of all the nonsense that's happening at LFC for a bit. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'd stopped and you just reminded me. Gonna have a nice. Do you know what I might have? I might have a cappuccino. I don't drink coffee normally, but I just fancy a cappuccino. Thanks for reminding me, Johan, about Snapey. Thanks a lot, people. Love yous, honest to God. See some of yous tomorrow, most probably. Good night, everybody. Buonanotte, Toscana. Buonanotte. Adamani, Toscana.